This is 99.5 Global FM, your number one source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yeah.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners
today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Madera Street.
Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. So it's a rainy Monday today. Bit overcast outside, and the rain is about to come down, at least in the area that I'm in. I'm not sure what's happening in the studio. I'm broadcasting from my residence today. I see they're still setting up the studio for Professor Thompson, who's at the desk, but is just getting settled. So we're going to give him an opportunity to get settled before I bring him onto the screen. But as you know, every Monday around these parts, we do what is called a Masterclass Monday, and we look at the Constitution of the Bahamas, and we're going to continue along those lines today. So while we wait for the professor to get settled in, here is how you can become a part of this conversation today. We are coming to you streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show. Let's get the word out that we're talking about the Constitution today. Also coming to you live on rumble.com. That's our umble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, no spaces in between. You can call us at 3260271. 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271. That's 8010271. You can catch us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974, or you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and follow us there. Last but by no means least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. A huge welcome to all of you from throughout the islands of the Bahamas and those of you who are tuned in from around the world. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So now that we have all of the particulars out of the way, like we like to say in the Bahamas, protocol already having been established, let's bring Professor Thompson now. There he is, Professor Thompson.
Good afternoon, Miss Malcolm, and good afternoon to the Bahamas. it's not raining on this side.
Well, it's quite
It's
quite overcast and
it's
just starting
overcast,
to rain
yes.
here. Yeah, yeah.
And it's cool on this side of the island. And I guess we may have some rain later on.
Well, it's,
But of
I
course,
guess it's starting here first.
yeah, maybe starting where you are and then moving across the island.
Yeah.
But let me just say that, we need to take action as citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
I am delighted that people are listening to the shows. What disappoints me is the fact that I need to get them to act on the information that they are getting every single week. Information is no good unless you apply it. And that weighed heavily on my mind as I was coming here, because if you just sit and listen and you do not correct those who are responsible for running your national affairs, and you just let them do any and everything, they may not see it, they may not understand it, but you need to know your constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges. If you don't protect the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we may find ourselves at some point down the road, just like some other places who were experimenting with democracy, and they have had tremendous setbacks. Look at what's happening in the Gaza Strip with the Israelis and the Hamas people. I just heard some reports on them. Thousands of people are dead in a very short period of time. Can we afford to have that happen in the Bahamas? We'll be wiped out.
Yep.
And so it is important that people understand, and I've said to this, and I think I need to explain this as simply as I possibly can, because people begin to believe that when it comes to politics, politics is everything. Now, the Constitution allows you to belong to a political party. It allows you to remain outside of a political party. It allows you for registration. You can be a citizen of the Bahamas. You may not be on the register of potential electors. I want to use that word, elector. That's a constitutional word. That is those persons who participate in the parliamentary democracy of the country. You can be on the register as a registered constituent. That's another constitutional case. You may be in a given constituency, you may belong to a particular political party, but the problem has been that we just don't seem to understand how to choose wisely over the last 50 years. We've made some very bad decisions. You've seen it come out in the parliament, you've seen it come out in the cabinet, you've seen it come out in the government, you've seen it come out in the Senate. The Senate is basically like a rubber stamp. No real discussion about issues, national issues, that affect the Bahamian people. Nothing, as I know, from the time I've been analyzing these things, has ever sent back to the House of Assembly saying, now you all need to work on that, we need to fix it. Bahamians, the government of the Bahamas, is making some very serious errors relating to constitutional matters. You are going to have to help your government, and if you don't help them, all of us are going to catch hell. The Constitution is your supreme law. It is your salvation document, not pieces of paper that people write things on and tell you, listen, we're going to go by that.
Well, one of the things I decided to do, Professor, is, we've been doing this for quite some time, and you and I realized some comments that were made in the last couple of shows that while, like you would have alluded to earlier, while people are tuned in and listening and hearing, they're not necessarily comprehending what that Constitution is supposed to be about. So I thought it might be advantageous if we play at the beginning of these Masterclass Monday shows for those who are new around here, because we can't assume that everybody's been listening for months.
Yes.
I think it would be helpful if we start these shows with that video that I play from time to time about Constitution Made Simple. So let me go ahead and play that video for those who are new, so they can get an understanding of what a constitution is, how it's supposed to work, and why it's important to us as a people. And then let's dive in. Okay, how does that sound?
Yeah. No, that sounds good. I could work with that.
All right, here now is that video for those of you who are new to these Masterclass Monday shows and you don't quite understand as yet the importance of that document called the Constitution of the Bahamas. Here's a video to explain to you why you should be paying closer attention to it.
Okay, so before we talk about what a constitution is, let's first explain why we need one. Let's start by looking at the fundamental things we all need as human beings. These are a voice in the decisions that affect our lives, material well-being such as food, shelter, and education, security and protection from violence or discrimination, and recognition and respect as individuals and communities. To help meet these needs, people create governments and delegate powers to them to exercise for the common good of society. The problem, though, is that while governments need powers to perform their functions, history tells us again and again that power without limits can lead to corruption, dictatorship, and oppression. Free, fair, and regular elections might help ensure good government. They allow people to select who they want in power, and over time, to vote out those who perform badly. But we also need some basic rules to control how that power is used, so that those who win elections still have to respect your rights and promote your interests, rather than using power for their own benefit. Just as in a game of football, there have to be rules and a referee. So in a democracy, there must be rules by which all the players are bound. These rules are provided in a constitution. The constitution is a law, but it's not just an ordinary law. A constitution is a supreme law that establishes, organizes, and empowers the government, and determines how other laws are made and implemented. It is also more difficult to change than ordinary laws, so that those in power cannot make up the rules as they go along. Football wouldn't be fair if the winning team could change the rules, and democracy isn't fair if those in power can just change the constitution according to their own whim. The Constitution harnesses the energy and power of the state, ensuring that the people control the reins. This explains why when people are trying to establish a new, fairer society, one of the first things they do is write a new constitution. This is what Norway did in 1814, India in 1950, South Africa in 1996, and Colombia in 1991. Indeed, nearly all countries in the world have a constitution to establish rules for using power. On the other hand, we've seen that when a democratic government is illegally overthrown, one of the first things the coup leaders do is set their sights on destroying the constitution. They don't want any inconvenient limits on their ability to rule by force. So the constitution both organizes and constrains power. Now, how does it do that? Well, there are several ways. One way is to divide power between different political institutions. For example, sharing functions between a president and a prime minister, or between two houses of a legislature, or between different levels of government, the national level, the regional, state or provincial level, and the local level. A constitution defines the powers of these institutions and regulates the relationship between them. It also ensures that power is rotated. 1 year, we may vote for one candidate or party. But after a few years, their time will be up, and we will have the chance to choose someone else. This means that no one person, party, or institution can accumulate too much power or stay in power too long. It is important to maintain a strict separation between the political institutions on the one hand, such as the elected parliament and government, and on the other hand, the permanent neutral institutions of the state, such as the courts, the military, the police, and the civil service. Constitutions also constrain power by saying what governments must and must not do. For example, a set of constitutional rights may specify that you can't be tortured, that you can't be imprisoned without due cause, and that your freedom of expression can't be infringed. Other provisions may direct the government to provide for basic human needs, such as education, healthcare, sanitation, or housing. Constitutions don't only protect the majority. There may be special provisions for minorities and marginalized groups, for their security, their participation in government, and protections for their identity and culture. Most constitutions also have a nation-building function. They seek to embody national unity and to reflect and declare the identity of the nation and its people. The Constitution announces to citizens, to the government itself, and to the outside world what the nation is, what it stands for, where it has come from, and what its vision for the future might be. A good constitution is just one step along the road to a peaceful, prosperous, and democratic society, but it is a fundamental one. By setting down the rules by which the state should be governed, a good constitution helps to ensure that the democratic aspirations of a people become and remain a reality.
All right, Professor. So that, I think, is a very, very effective bit of information as to what a constitution is, how it's supposed to work, why it's important to the people of a country, and all of that. And as you look at that clip, every time I watch it, I say, my God, because we have violated what a constitution is supposed to be in so many ways in this country. If you look at that video as to an example of a constitution and its role in its purest sense. So we really have some work to do to try to get back on track.
Yes, Ms. Malcolm, I agree with you. There's a lot of work that has to be done. I'm just going to take the citizenry, the citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It talks about restraining a government. That is one key point that was mentioned in that clip.
Mm-hmm.
The Constitution tells a government what it ought to do, and the government has been acting outside of its constitutional authority, which simply means they have no authority. It's just as simple as that. You see, you have to have restrictions. You have to have restraint on a government. Now, when you look at our Constitution, it tells you Parliament supposed to put restraints on a government. But you have a situation where persons in our current setup, the government of the day has appointed virtually every single person on that side, the governing side, to some position of authority in that government. You hardly have any left to tell the government when they're going wrong. And that's a bad thing to have in your country. If you do not tell the government of the Bahamas when they're going wrong, and you could also tell them when they're right too. But there are just too many things that are happening right now that are contrary to the Constitution. Even laws that have been passed by the Parliament itself, having been sent to the Governor General to be signed, and those laws are not constitutional. These are the things we have to look at very carefully. That's why I come right back to that main point that I've been stressing for some time. You have to exercise caution and restraint. as to who you send to represent your constituency, since that's how it's set up in our Constitution, in the House of Assembly. And too many of you are so party gung-ho that you miss the whole point between the responsibility of choosing a parliamentarian to represent you in the House of Assembly as opposed to a party candidate. And Bahamians, we've been mixed up on that for more than 50 years. Even today, as I speak to you, it is still not clear. I listen to the shows from time to time, and I hear comments being made by different persons, and they have a right to comment. They have a right to their opinion. And let me just say, because an opinion from a political personality does not mean it is constitutionally sound. Because some of us go wild when we hear a statement from a particular political personality. And we think it's law. It never was law. It's just the opinion of that particular individual. And we as Bahamians have failed miserably to distinguish between what was said by the political party or the political personality and what the Constitution says. The Constitution allows for political parties. The Constitution allows for people to express freely. And that is another infringement on the rights of people, because there are some who are trying to shut people up because they do not agree with what they say. That is a major issue in our country.
Yeah, we have a call on the line, Professor. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Good afternoon, Ms. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How you doing, Mr. Professor?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well, and good afternoon to you.
Well, this Hannah from the Bahamas, Thompson. And this is a question for you, Mr. Professor. You mentioned thousands of people are dying in Gaza and the country where they have war.
Yes.
But you're intelligent just like me. You know what I mean? I feel that. You know the war is fake, Professor. The war is manipulated. It's fake. Although people is casualty and people dying, the war is manipulated. It's fake. When you get to them, we watching TV and we watching the media. But if you there in reality, them people shooting in the air, them people shooting at buildings and everything, they're driving out the people out of their town. Now I ain't say people not dying, but it's fake and it is to drive the people out. And I wonder if they have constitution, because the same thing will happen to us with our constitution. Yeah.
Okay, caller. Yeah, thanks. They don't have a constitution in Israel. Israel does not have a constitution.
Well, Ms. Malcolm, okay,
yes.
I understand what you just said. We have a constitution. Okay, we can show off. Did you hear the professor that we wasn't governed by our constitution? So whether we have a constitution or not, we're in the same boat, Ms. Malcolm. I'll see you later. That's why I want to talk to Mr. Professor. See you.
Let me just comment on that, because I can understand where he's coming from. Let me say this. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is law, supreme law. It doesn't matter to me whether the government agrees or disagrees with it. We can deal with that. We're not the same as it is in Gaza Strip, or with Israelis, or with Hamas people. We have certain rights and freedoms and privileges that are entrenched in this Constitution, which we can use today to keep the government in check. That's the whole purpose of having a Constitution. You want these people to keep running over you, walking on you, doing and acting as they please without restraints? Are you afraid to tell your representative when he's wrong? On matters relating to running your constituency? On matters relating to your national affairs? Are you afraid to tell the government of the day, government, you are wrong? Are you afraid to tell Parliament you pass a bad law that is not constitutionally sound? Are we afraid to do those things? This is what we are faced with now. Now, if we don't correct these things, and I can point out to you hardcore evidence of how our Constitution is being violated daily by the government of the Bahamas. We have an Attorney General who is working to bypass what the Constitution specifically says ought to be done. And then he turn around and say, sue him. But that's all right. That could be dealt with. His actions well, the Constitution says the Attorney General is the chief legal advisor to the government. That Attorney General advises the government of the Bahamas. Are you not concerned that he may be misleading the government of the Bahamas and by extension misleading the nation by his own actions, by statements that he's made, by things that are going out from that office? Are we concerned about that? Are we concerned about the fact that he is working diligently to circumvent the Constitution? When the Constitution says you must have a referendum if you're going to change any of those articles relating to citizenship? Are you not concerned about that? The Constitution speaks specifically how the married woman who has a foreign husband and what happens to those children born outside the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And he's trying to circumvent that, mixing it up with Article 6, which deals with the single fathers and the single mothers. And the Constitution is very specific as to what should be done. Those are the things that I'm concerned about. Because when a government goes contrary to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas, you're asking for plenty trouble.
We have another call on the line, Professor. We have a call on the line.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Call, are you there?
Yes, hello, Professor. You heard the story with the water and sewers man who got killed. The thing went over his head and it killed him. Why we not having a lot of airplay on that? That's our Constitution to bring that on the radio, but they downplaying that. The guy who just got killed and the big thing jump on him, either Ilucha Abaco or Ilucha, one of them, or Andres, the man, he died, he from Freeport, and the big tank jump on his head. We don't hearing a lot about that, sir.
I think I heard about that.
But that's our Constitution, right? They hear that play all the time. Why is that downplaying? Hi, Scandalano. I got all the news. Bye.
Well, I've heard about that incident. I haven't heard too much about it. But let me just say this. We have what are called accidents that happen, and of course, a lot of them could be avoided if we exercise caution and restraint. The thing is, that's very unfortunate, and I know it's hurting the family. And they will have to take whatever action they deem necessary to deal with that particular issue. And there are others. I even understand a woman was devoured by a shark today. So some things are happening which are very dangerous. And yes, the Constitution is still very much alive and well. It is a sound document. I believe we have to get people to understand those who are running your national affairs, your constituency affairs, those who are elected, those who are appointed, ambassadors, consul generals, whatever name they give them. These are the people that make up agencies of the government. But the cabinet is where these decisions are being made. The cabinet is the government of the Bahamas, and by extension, you have all these different departments in these different ministries, and they carry out what it is the government wants them to do. We have treaties that have been passed. And the question is, a lot of you don't even know these treaties. You don't know what's in them. You've never seen them. A number of them I've never seen myself. But yet we're being told we have to go by this, we have to go by that. The Constitution says in Article 2, this Constitution is the supreme law of the land. If any other law, and Bahamians notice that phrase, if any other law is inconsistent with this Constitution shall prevail. And the other law, them funny things they have out there in the UN and them kind of funny things. The other law, to the extent of its inconsistency, shall be null and void. Article 2 of your Constitution. Laws passed in the House of Assembly that violate Article 2, not constitutionally sound. We got plenty of them right there. We have to look at these things, Bahamians. We have to help the government of the Bahamas to get it right. We got problems with immigration. That is a major national problem. Ain't straight yet, but we got to work on it. And Bahamians, you have to help those whom you've elected and those who've been appointed on your behalf to run this place. We have to get it right.
All right, we've got to take a break. So on the other side of the break, we're going to continue with Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. On this Masterclass Monday, we're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas, what it means for you. And we seek to not just give you information, but to make sure that you can comprehend the information that you're receiving. Because if you can't comprehend it, then you can't put it to work. And if you don't put it to work, then what's the point? What's the point? So let's take this break. When we come back, we're going to continue with our Masterclass Monday on the Constitution of the Bahamas. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for a rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires, cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
Welcome back to GPS Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company on this overcast Monday, which is a masterclass Monday. We're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas once again. And Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is guiding the way. Here's how you can get in on the show. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271. That's 326-0271. 326-0272. 326-0272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show. Also coming to you live on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, no space in between. And we're on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. And you can download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and follow us there. A huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. Welcome to all of you, whether you are here in New Providence, Grand Bahama, throughout the family of islands, and around the world. So the Constitution of the Bahamas takes center stage every Monday here on GPS. And, Professor Thompson and I have been at this now for several months well. And the response has been very, very encouraging. We know that a lot of people tune in on Mondays to learn more about the Constitution. However, we've been hearing some calls in recent days, or recent weeks, I should say, that sort of give the impression that people still weren't getting where the professor was coming from as it relates to how this whole thing is supposed to be built as far as the people is concerned from the ground up, as opposed to looking at the leaders to build from the top down. And this is where we fall down as a nation very often, because we're looking for this to happen from the top down. And when it doesn't happen, we throw up our hands up in the air and we say, woe is me, and they're treating us bad, but you don't seem to realize the power you have in your hands. And so that's why we thought it important to do this show every Monday, to educate our people about the power that lies within your hands, not just as an individual, but more so collectively. Because together, when you come together in numbers, you are far more impactful than if it's just one voice crying out in the wilderness. So that's why we thought it was important to do these shows every Monday. Now, when we first started these shows, Professor, we were going through the Constitution line by line, article by article.
Yes.
It's been a minute since we've been doing that, because there have been so many things that have pulled us away from it.
Yes. And recent events have done that. And I'm looking at Article 63.1. I was thinking I might be able to cover that today. Article 63, the whole article. And the thing is that, some things are happening that are not constitutionally sound. It tells you when a bill becomes law and how it ought to become law. And so the thing is that we're not watching what the government of the Bahamas is doing. Now, before it gets to the government of the Bahamas, it's got to start in the House of Assembly. We're not watching what our parliamentarians are doing. The Parliament is where laws are passed. And the Constitution says Parliament is Her Majesty the Queen, a Senate, a House of Assembly. Now, here's where we run into problems. personalities who make up the cabinet are also members of the House of Assembly or maybe a senator in the upper house.
Mm-hmm.
The conflict comes in when a particular personality may be one, a minister, also a representative of a particular constituency. And that means as a government minister, the particular minister has responsibility for that, the ministry. And the Constitution tells you the collective parliament comes together. It has the authority to make decisions on behalf of the people. The minister himself, when he goes to that ministry, has overall direction and control of the ministry. That's in your Constitution. It says the cabinet has what? Overall direction and control of the government. So when the prime minister, the personality at the top in the cabinet, appoints a minister over a particular ministry, that minister carries what? Overall direction and control in that ministry. Now, a lot of times people get all kind of mixed up and say the minister's supposed to deal with policy, supposed to deal with that. No, the Constitution says he has what? Overall direction. 1, overall control. 2, of the ministry. Well, you don't see that happening. We find when things happen, the fella ducking and hiding and say maybe it's the permanent secretary, maybe it's the director. And so we get all mixed up, Bahamians. Now, I'm not saying...
It might be helpful if I read from the Constitution what Article 63 says.
You can read in this particular point right here, it would be helpful if you read about when it talks about the cabinet. The cabinet has what? Overall direction and control of the government. Now, we could come to Article 63, but I want to make this point very clear because we are all mixed up when it comes to that.
Okay.
We seem not to follow what the Constitution says. I don't want nobody telling me about no permanent secretary because that's not in your Constitution that says the permanent secretary has overall direction and control of the ministry. It's not there, Bahamians. Neither does it say the parliamentary secretary has overall direction and control of the ministry. The minister from the cabinet has overall direction and control of that particular ministry. And they got it all mixed up. So the fellow would blame, oh, it's the director. Oh, it's the secretary. Now, permanent secretaries have some degree of authority. But then some tell me, say, they run the ministry. Their job is to run the ministry. When I read in the Constitution, they are supervisors. I don't know where they get this high, glorified position for permanent secretary. I don't see it in the Constitution. But I keep hearing it all the time. The minister makes policy and you just leave it to the permanent secretary. I'm not saying the permanent secretary doesn't have a role to play. Neither am I saying the parliamentary secretary doesn't have a role to play. But the responsibility, Bahamians, is what we need to look at. From the cabinet, the minister is a member of that cabinet. He has overall direction and control from the cabinet to that ministry. And that's where we get all mixed up. Then after you done read that, you could go to Article 63.
Okay, so the article that you're referring to now, that's which one?
That's the one where it talks about the government, the cabinet of the Bahamas. I don't remember the article right here, but you'll find it.
I'm trying to find it.
The cabinet, the responsibility of the cabinet.
I see part 4 that says powers and procedure of Parliament. Is that what you're referring to?
It should come under that, yes.
Powers and procedures of Parliament.
Yeah, that's a section. And then it talks about Parliament being a Majesty the Queen, a Senate, a House of Assembly. Then you'll come right on down and see about the cabinet, the appointment of the cabinet. That's where the real concentration of power is.
if we go all the way back to part 3 describes the House of Assembly.
Yes.
I'm just scrolling back to see how far back I should go.
No, we just want to deal with what the cabinet of the Commonwealth.
Okay, that's
Bahamas.
part 2. No, the part 2 is about the Senate.
The Senate is the rubber stamp. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the part about the cabinet. I haven't found it as yet.
Okay.
Okay, I see the Governor General. Maybe I'm going in the wrong direction.
You'll find
I'm scrolling up instead of scrolling down. Maybe I'm heading in the wrong direction.
Yes.
Because I haven't found it as yet. Okay, I'm still looking.
And it speaks to the office of Prime Minister and appointment of ministers.
This document is so long that I think I may be heading in the wrong direction. Protection of fundamental rights and freedoms. Yeah, I think I was heading in the wrong direction. Okay, let me go back in the other direction and scroll in that way to see if I could find the section that you're talking about. Would that be after 63 or before?
No, it might be before, yeah.
Okay. All right, I'm going to continue to look for that.
Okay.
I see the Governor General, Parliament, Senate. Keep going, keep going, keep going.
The office of Prime Minister.
House of Assembly. There's a lot to go through.
I don't remember the article right offhand, but I would have given it to you if I had remembered it.
Yeah. All right. I will continue to look for it while we continue the conversation.
Yes.
And I'll let you know once I come across it.
No, you'll find it. See, the thing is, there are those who are given authority, and sometimes, unfortunately, they don't carry out their specific constitutional mandate.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when that happens, you're going to have trouble, because then some other people get blamed, unfortunately. So I don't blame the persons who are hired by the government of the Bahamas. They really don't have no real authority. But when you look at your constitution, it specifically names the offices where the authority rests. Now, the fellow may be lazy, and I can pass this off to the secretary. You handle that. And particularly when things go wrong. See, this is another problem we have in this country. I hear them talking about the numbers with tourism in the country. And the numbers are high and how many tourists are coming in. But we haven't heard what it costs the taxpayers of this country to bring those tourists here. We haven't heard that side of it. Who gets all of this money? Who is benefiting from all this money? And I agree, we got plenty of tourists in town. In my area, we are flooded with tourists. So that is true. And they're spending money, and that's good. In fact, you got Bahamian, the American dollars outnumbering the Bahamian dollars. They're giving you the American money now because they don't have enough Bahamian money to give you. But the point is, we have tourists in the country like we have never had before. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are problems in the country. The criminal element, which we're not paying attention to. You know how many dead people have been shot to death, stabbed to death, crushed to death, like the gentleman talked about? That's an accident, of course. And so many other things. Yeah, go ahead.
I found it. That's
you found it, yeah, go ahead.
Article 72.
Of 72. Okay, yeah, all right. No, that's ahead of 63. Yeah, okay. I hadn't thought the number 71.
72. 72
okay.
71 deals with the executive. Okay?
Yes,
you want me to start from there, or you just go
straight?
Yeah,
no, you can start right from there. Yeah, the executive.
Okay. 71.1 says the executive authority of the Bahamas is vested in Her Majesty. 71.2.
Stop right there. Stop
Okay.
right there. No, don't push this thing too quickly now, because I got to explain this thing. The executive authority is vested in who?
Her Majesty.
Her Majesty the Queen. Now, we ain't got no more Queen.
Right.
That article can only be changed by a referendum.
Really?
Yes. The executive authority of the Bahamas is vested in Her Majesty the Queen. See that one sentence is an article? Famous, we can't be overlooking these things and taking it lightly and say, just leave it as is. No. Her Majesty the Queen. The Queen has certain powers. The Queen has certain authority because the Constitution says so. It didn't say invested in the Prime Minister, you know. It says invested in the government of the Bahamas, you know. It says Her Majesty the Queen. Do we understand how important that is? But it's in the Constitution. So we got to see these things, Bahamians. The executive authority, and that ain't one who just clean the bathroom and mop the floor and wash the dishes. It don't work that way, Bahamians. The government of the Bahamas has a specific function. Ms. Malcolm can cover that. She come into it. But the point is, your Constitution says the executive authority of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is vested in Her Majesty the Queen. That's it. You can't do nothing with that. You can't change that unless by a referendum. Go ahead, Ms. Malcolm.
Wow. Okay. Let me continue with this then.
Continue right from where you left off.
Yeah.
You're on the right track.
That's
71.
That was 71.1. 71.2 says, subject to the provisions of this Constitution, the executive authority of the Bahamas may be exercised on behalf of Her Majesty by the Governor General, either directly or through officers subordinate to him.
Stop right there. You see how important that is? The Governor General represents Her Majesty the Queen. The authority of the Queen can be exercised by the Governor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and subordinates subject to him. That's what the Constitution says.
Yeah, this need plenty adjustment because it ain't no him right now.
Well, I got to go by what the document says. Subject to him. Now, of course, when the word him, that could be male or female. So that's given. I don't have a problem with that. But the office of Governor General is an important office because the Queen is not here in person. So he, being the Governor General at the top of the ladder, represents Her Majesty, the powers of executive authority of this country vested by Her Majesty through the Governor General to subjects subordinate to him, the Governor General. That's what your Constitution says. See, this thing makes sense. Now, this is how it is set up. And that's the way we ought to be operating the country. You can talk about the Prime Minister and them. You come into that. But the point is, we need to understand the functions of the particular personalities who sit in these different offices because they keep passing things off to different people, and these underlings get caught up in that, and they know the Constitution themselves. Well, they say, well, that fella tells me I must do this, I must do that. But you have no constitutional authority, one, to tell that person that, and that person has no constitutional authority to carry out that unconstitutional function that you placed on that person who doesn't know better. Ms. Malcolm, this is very serious, you know. Because people who do not have constitutional authority are being pressured to do things that are not constitutionally sound. That's why we got all this mixing up in this place. If we were to run this country specifically by what the Constitution says, you know how far advanced we would have been? Now, there's some things that need to change. I won't get into that today. That's a whole horse of a different color.
Right.
I don't want distracted the people from what it says. And there are some things when they come to understand, they will see after looking at it, you know something, this really needs to change. But that must come from who? Come from the people, not from necessarily Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson, although I can have my say in it now. Oh, yes. I'm going to have my say in it when it comes to changing. But I don't think we're at that point yet. We need to understand what the Constitution says, how the government of the Bahamas ought to function. Let me stop because I'll go till Christ come back. Ms. Malcolm, continue, please.
Well, we got to take a break. So let's take
okay.
this break. Right. And then on the other side, we're going to look at 71.3. That's a very interesting article as it relates to the executive. So let's take this break. And then when we come back, we'll get back into the Constitution with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. This is GPS.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs, but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting, sugar-free, berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Radio 99.5.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here. On this Masterclass Monday, we're looking at the Constitution of the Bahamas with Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271. That's 326-0271. 326-0272. 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. That's 801-0271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show. Also coming to you live on rumble.com, rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word, no spaces in between. We're coming to you on Cable Bahamas, channel 974, and on the Global 99.5 FM app, which you can download to your smart device and carry us with you 24/7. Last but by no means least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio, whether it's anywhere throughout the Commonwealth of the Bahamas or around the world. Welcome to you all. Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson is here once again, taking us through the journey of the Constitution of the Bahamas, trying to help us to understand this all-important document so that we have a better idea of our rights and responsibilities contained therein. Okay, so we're now looking at Chapter 6 of the Constitution, which deals with the executive, and 71.3, Article 71.3, says nothing in this article shall prevent Parliament from conferring functions on persons or authorities other than the Governor General.
That's true.
So you think that's why they put so much responsibility on the PS, or that one has nothing to do with the other?
I'm glad you asked that. When you get to see when it talks about the cabinet, I can wait till you get that and I'll answer that for you.
Okay. All right, let's continue that. 72.1 says there shall be a cabinet for the Bahamas, which shall have the general direction and control of the government of the Bahamas, and shall be collectively responsible, therefore, to Parliament.
Okay, stop right there.
Mm-hmm.
The cabinet has what? Overall direction and control of the government. That's the function of the cabinet. The cabinet is to be responsible to who? The Parliament.
Mm-hmm.
You got all these fellas who are members of Parliament who got government positions. So they're beholding to a particular personality who appointed them to those particular positions. When the Parliament is responsible to keep tabs on the cabinet, that's the system says it must work that way. Remember now, the Prime Minister comes out from the House of Assembly by a majority of the vote, the persons in that house. He commands the majority of the members of that house, the House of Assembly. That's how he got his power.
Mm-hmm.
So when he steps out of line, nobody corrects him. Parliament doesn't correct him. All of these fellas got position, chairman of one board. Now, if you're a minister, well, then they talk about this collective responsibility. I ain't got no problem with that. Now, when the cabinet is wrong, what are you going to do then? And you know constitutionally they are wrong. You can sit right there and let the man just continue to take the nation down the drain? Or are you going to stand up and say, sir, that is not correct?
But when you stand up and say that ain't correct, Professor, they put you in the back bench. And these fellas don't want to sit on the back bench. They want to sit on the front bench.
Let me put it to you this way. You could stay right there on the front bench and let the country go up in flames. And you going up in flames.
And then ain't nobody on no bench.
Exactly. Ain't gonna be no back bench. Ain't gonna be no front bench either, too.
Mm.
And so people have to understand the importance of these offices. You are going to have to tell the cabinet when they are wrong, Parliament.
But what about the collective responsibility, though? Where does that come in?
Collective responsibility is with the cabinet. Parliament has a responsibility because the cabinet is supposed to report to Parliament, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget that. Parliament has the authority to correct the cabinet when they step out of line. In fact, they don't do that. The Parliament passes laws that are unconstitutional. We got some right in there. One of these days I can pull one or two and show the Bahamian people how wrong Parliament has been in violating the Constitution. So when you allow the cabinet, and that's the Prime Minister and all his ministers, and you see something that they're doing that's wrong. The Attorney General is a part of the cabinet. And what the Attorney General is planning to do is wrong. Completely unconstitutional. Are they going to stand up and tell him? Say, my brother, it can't go that way. You have to have a referendum. It has to be approved by the Bahamian people. This ain't no republic over here. You got one president and then you got some other funny things in there. The Constitution is very specific. But who has stood up to tell Mr. Ryan Pind, who was the Attorney General? Remember now, he's supposed to be the office of the Attorney General, chief legal advisor to the government. So if the person in that office gives wrong information, unconstitutional information to the government, then the government would be dead wrong. But ain't no one in the cabinet says anything, so all things keep going down the drain. As we are right now, you see all these national problems, serious national problems. You had a minister doing child stories just recently, talking about things that are not important, instead of dealing with the deep, serious issues which that particular minister is responsible for in that particular ministry. So you just watch the behavior of these people. Listen to what they say, watch what they do. And so you can't keep going in a direction to cause the country to suffer. The government of the Bahamas has a responsibility to protect the interests of the Bahamian people. So if they don't do it themselves, Parliament doesn't do it, then who's supposed to do it? That's where the electors come in. The electors, who are constituents in the different constituencies, they have to keep tabs on 1, the parliamentarian, 2, the parliament collectively, 3, the cabinet. If you don't keep tabs on them, we're going to keep going wrong, Bahamians. The Constitution is supreme, not the government, not the Prime Minister, not the cabinet, not Parliament. The Constitution is supreme. The Constitution, as you heard in the first clip that was played, put boundaries so that the government of the Bahamas could function according to constitutional law. Right now, they all mix up. Because bad advice is being given by the Office of Attorney General to the government of the Bahamas, which is not constitutionally sound.
Well, Professor, we got all them lawyers, and you mean to tell me none of them could figure this out?
Let me put it to you this way. You got to ask them. Ask them. But I know what the Constitution says. And that's why I am saying to the Bahamian people, get to know your Constitution. So I'm not going to wait for no lawyer or an attorney or a QC or a KC, whatever they call themselves. My life is very important to me. And I stand in on the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, not on an attorney, not on a KC, not a QC. While they may have legal training and should understand law, what they do with it is a different kettle of fish altogether. And so if their eyes are closed and they cannot see, then we got a real problem, because you had a whole army of attorneys right there in the Attorney General's office.
I don't think it's a case of their eyes being closed. I think they just know the people's eyes closed, so they get away with what they want to get away with.
Okay, fine. So that's why I am here every Monday to help the Bahamian people to know their constitution. I'm not depending on any KC or QC or BC or an AC. I am going to know that document for myself. Now, granted, not everybody will be able to understand this document because it's very complex and very complicated. I know from experience that a constitution is very difficult for people to understand. That's why it has to be explained in simple, basic, fundamental language. Who's responsible for that? The government of the Bahamas. Have they done it? The answer is no. It has never been done. Go back to your preamble. National commitment to do some very specific things. Who's supposed to do that? The government of the Bahamas. That's why you're the government. What do you think you were there for? Just to collect money and allow the country to fall down and in all kind of trouble and confusion and strife and chaos? That's not a responsible government. The government of the Bahamas is to protect the interests of the people through the Constitution. And when a government isn't doing that, we're asking for trouble. And so if those in the Office of Attorney General are not advising them properly, that's a major problem we have in this country. We have to fix it. We who are electors, constituents in the constituencies, have to tell the MP, man, you're dead wrong. That got to get fixed. We have to tell the Prime Minister, the cabinet ministers, you are dead wrong. You have to change the course you're on. But if you don't tell them that, they don't think, well, boy, we running things good. And unfortunately, I'll say this because we have had people, and probably still have people, at the cabinet level who know nothing about the Constitution. I know of a particular personality who had a high office in the cabinet, didn't know a single word about the Constitution. Baby, that's a problem. No wonder why we're in such crap today. Because we are not making note of the persons who are supposed to be running this country and how they're running it, and running it straight under the ground. Is that what we want? I don't think we want that. But we can't just sit back and do nothing and just say, let it be, and all of us just fall out and die. We have to fix it, Bahamians. We got serious problems to fix. And you've elected the people. You put them there. You gave them the power. You can take it back from them. They're not listening to you. The Constitution tells you how to deal with them. It's just as simple as that. You don't have to put up with the crap. If the fella can't cut it, he cannot perform, then you take the appropriate action. It's just as simple as that. You can't say it has nothing to do with whether you in this party or that party. The Constitution speaks to that also. But we're talking about what? The government of the Bahamas. You can have your party, but you don't have to be the government of the Bahamas. Just as simple as that.
All right, let's go back to the Constitution itself. Yeah. So Article 72(1) says, there shall be a cabinet for the Bahamas, which shall have the general direction and control of the government of the Bahamas, and shall be collectively responsible therefore to Parliament. Okay, we covered that.
Yeah, we covered that.
72(2) says the cabinet shall consist of the Prime Minister and not less than 8 other ministers, of whom one shall be the Attorney General, as may be appointed in accordance with the provisions of Article 73 of this Constitution.
Stop right there.
Okay.
Notice that they put a minimum number, not less than.
Right.
Okay? But no maximum number. So here's a problem that we have in this country. See how many people in our cabinet today? In fact, one fellow decided he can make state ministers. Do you see that in the Constitution? It's not there.
Not yet.
No, it never was there. We didn't have an amendment to the Constitution to say we could have state ministers.
Right.
Where did that come from? But you got personalities who are quote unquote state ministers in the cabinet. Now, when you could show me it in the Constitution, I'll go along with you, because it isn't there. It said not less than so many ministers, along with the prime minister. Ministers, Bahamians. So we get all mixed up when we do things that are not constitutionally sound. So the prime minister could appoint himself to different positions. That's not unconstitutional. He could take over 3 or 4 ministries. And you can't say he's wrong. And the prime ministers of this country have done that. He's not constitutionally wrong. But I know one thing: you take on too much for yourself, or to make yourself look important, you're bound to make all kinds of mistakes. So he can appoint, and you see the parade of personalities that he has appointed in this current cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them looking for position. Those who are not in the cabinet. Now, state minister is not a cabinet position, but they got them in the cabinet, say they're state ministers. You have also the office, well, unconstitutional again, deputy prime minister. That's not in your constitution. So these are the violations that have been going on for years, Bahamians. We ain't correct it. We ain't tell the man, say, listen, you got to drop that deputy prime minister crap. You got to drop that state minister foolishness and nonsense. It's not constitutionally sound. We're paying out money to people, and they're enjoying the money, while some of our people out there suffering. Can't get $1. We haven't corrected it in 50 years, Bahamians. Something that is not even in your constitution. And we are allowing that foolishness to go on right now as I speak. We haven't told the government, you're wrong. Prime Minister, that's not the way it's supposed to be. Well, then, the Attorney General should be advising him. That's the chief legal advisor. So perhaps, maybe he didn't tell them, but it's been going on for a long time. So what I'm saying is the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas must know their constitution. Don't wait for no KC, QC, BC, AC, DC. Don't worry about that. That's not important. I heard someone said on the last show, I think it was last Monday, he said, let's hear what these particular personalities say. I say, sure. Let's hear them. Have you heard anything? Have you seen any of them? Have they demonstrated anything? You in the public will answer that for yourself. But these are problems, real constitutional problems that we need to solve, and we got to solve them, Bahamians. Otherwise, we're going to keep dropping. Go ahead, Ms. Malcolm.
Okay, so we're down to 73. Let's see. 73-1. Yeah, we just covered 72-2. Okay. So 73-1 says, whenever there shall be occasion for the appointment of a prime minister, the Governor General shall appoint as prime minister A, the member of the House of Assembly who is the leader of the party which commands the support of the majority of the members of that house, or B, if it appears to him that the party does not have an undisputed leader in that house, or that no party commands the support of such a majority, the member of the House of Assembly who in his judgment is most likely to command the support of the majority of members of that house and who is willing to accept the office of prime minister.
Okay. That says a lot right in there. You see
It
all
sure
kinds of explanation to that?
Sure does.
Let me see if I could break it down and make it very simple, very basic for the Bahamian people. The first one, number one, the leader of the party who is a member of that house who commands the majority of the members of that house. Now, that's in your Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
And that was put there by the Founding Fathers in their wisdom in setting up the Constitution. I respect that. I have nothing against. See, anything was constitutional, I ain't going against it. But I do know we need to make some changes in this Constitution. I'll tell you that right off the top. But I'm not going to get into about the changes yet because you people don't even understand what's in the document. That's the sad part. 50 years has passed as a nation, and we don't even know our own Constitution. That's bad. So the first thing, the fella or the person who's in the house who commands the majority of the members of that house, leader of that particular party. Number two, you may have a situation where no one among the parties, we haven't had a situation like that yet, who doesn't command the majority of the members of that house. Now, the Governor General has to look very carefully among the members of that house to see which one member of that house commands the majority of the members of the House of Assembly at that particular time. That person has to be what? Willing to accept the office of Prime Minister. Now, we ain't had a situation like that yet, because the way how we've been voting, and you got one lopsided thing here and a couple over there. So that situation didn't arise. But it could very well arise at any given time down the road. But it's in the Constitution. So we have a remedy to deal with that.
We see something similar, not exactly the same thing, but we know that when it comes to, say, the official opposition, I guess this could apply to the Prime Minister as well. If his members feel that he's lost his way and they have had enough, they can go to the Governor General and say, we've lost confidence in this person, and the Governor General would then be required to replace that person, correct?
No, that's correct. You're quite right. But I'm not knocking that. That's constitutional. Yes, you're quite right.
Mm-hmm.
How many in that current house right now are prepared to stand up and tell the man that he's wrong? Because he's doing some things that are not constitutionally sound. That's the problem. But see, you got so many of them in that house who got position chairman of this board and this and that and the next thing. And they're the ones who gave this particular personality the office. They're responsible for giving him the office, and then you turn around and the fella might not be acting constitutionally. And you're afraid to tell the man that's contrary to the Constitution. If you don't change it, we can have to deal with you. You have any House of Assembly members doing that today? The answer is no. All you do is watch what the way their behavior, the way how they behave, and what they say. And they seem to be all mixed up on things, even in the cabinet. These are the things that concern the national welfare of the Bahamian people. If the Prime Minister is wrong, you have to say, Mr. Prime Minister, you're dead wrong. And you don't bat an eye when you tell him that. If the Minister of Immigration is wrong, you tell Mr. Minister of Immigration, you're dead wrong. And you show him from the Constitution where he's wrong. That's what we have to do. But that's not happening. And I agree with what you just said. If we can have a situation like that, if we have strong representation in the House of Assembly. That's why I'm saying that we get so colored with party. We don't know the difference between being a member of the party and being the parliamentarian in the House of Assembly. They get all mixed up. It has nothing to do with the particular party. That's what people fail to understand. You're dealing with the government of the Bahamas. That's not a party. The government is one thing, the party is another thing. Although you may have members of that particular party as the government of the country. There's nothing wrong with that. That's all constitutional. But when we get it all mixed up, when we get party business and government business all wrapped up in one, and we know the difference between the two. And we see it all the time. You don't know when the minister stands up and speaks. Is he speaking as the minister for that particular ministry? Is he speaking as a representative for that particular constituency he's supposed to be doing? We don't know. And yet, when these personalities make statements, the people go wild. But they ain't checked the Constitution. What the Prime Minister said, is that constitutionally sound? See, my mind clicks all the time. When he opens his mouth to speak to the people, where he is party leader, and he is party leader of that particular party, and the office of Prime Minister. See, I always tell them about St. Barnabas Church and Waking to BDC. Same person. You would go to St. Barnabas Church on Sunday morning, you go to BTC 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock Monday morning. You don't get that mixed up. The Prime Minister, leader of the party, that particular party that he's heading, and he's also Prime Minister. When is he speaking as leader of that particular party? When is he speaking as a representative in his constituency? When is he speaking as Prime Minister? See, it's all confused. So we got to get that straight.
To be able to tell the difference. Yeah.
All
right, let's take a break. We got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to continue this master class on the Constitution. Stay with us.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all. Schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy with mailboat to U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Give us a call at 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 8010271. That's 8010271. We're streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. Please like and share the show. Also on rumble.com. That's rumble.com. Look for Global Paradigm Shift, all one word. No spaces in between. We're coming to you live on Cable Bahamas, channel 974. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. Last but by no means least, welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. So Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson, and I are going through the Constitution of the Bahamas. And as a constitutional lawyer, Professor Thompson seeks to bring some clarity to what could otherwise be a very complicated document to understand if you are not legally trained.
That's correct.
Some language in here that could be a little confusing.
Very much so. In fact, when I was looking at this all the way back more than 50 years ago, and I went to see an attorney, and I came out, my mind told me, say, you know something, you need to know this law for yourself. And I couldn't figure out back then what law I should look into. When I came to see that the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas is supreme law, I say that's it, and I never turned back since. I am so delighted that my mother and father gave me the opportunity to be educated, and some others who were helping me as well, but mommy and daddy, they did a lot, had 9 pigeons of their own and 3 grand pigeons. That under their roof. That's a total of 12 pigeons. And, you know, I am very grateful for mommy and daddy for the sacrifice, the hard work, and commitment. And you think my grandfather on my father's side, when I think about the hard work of those elders who were ahead of me, and you think I can play the fool here, December the 4th, 2023? We need defenders of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and I'm going to give my number out in the show. I want you to send me an email with your name and your address. You live in a particular constituency, you could put that in. Send it to Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. And my email is sydneymthompson@hotmail.com. See, I want to get you to understand, if we lose our constitutional powers that are entrenched in this most vital document, what's happening in Gaza will be a joke to what would happen to us. We will be non-existent. Bahamians, that's how serious this thing is. You can't just sit back and relax. This is no time to relax. This is time for action. Constitutional action, Bahamians. You have to do something to save this place. Otherwise, we won't have it.
Professor, I think you need to spell out your email address to make sure they get the spelling of your first name correct.
Yes, that's good. I appreciate that. Sidney, Sidney. Sidney.
So we spelled it wrong then. We have SYDNEY. We spelled your name wrong all this time?
Well, that's how you're... Yeah, that's incorrect. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that. Sidney, SIDNEY, M for MacArthur, you know. Because my aunt named me, my grandaunt, I should say, after General Douglas MacArthur. Sidney M. Thompson, THOMPSON, at hotmail.com. Send me an email with your number, with your address, the constituency you live in, because Bahamians, this is very important, you know. The man said last week, he said, Professor, you need to do something. And I spoke to my people. But you know, I have to get advice from those who work with me. This is not a one-man show. And people need to understand that. We need you out there to be highly constitutionally organized. See, I know that very well. I'm going strictly constitutional. So you will always be right. And let me just say this. The Constitution is always right. It is never, ever wrong. Let me just repeat that. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas is always right. It is never, ever wrong. So if you want to be right all the time, stick with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas and you'll be straight. That's the way we have to go, Bahamians. Sidney M. Thompson at hotmail.com. And of course, I'm going to leave my number, 465-5786. 465-5786. Now you got to call me after the show. Don't call me during the show, after the show. And I'll take calls at any time. Because Bahamians, this is dead serious business. We got to save this place. For all those scores of thousands of Bahamians out there who don't know better. Say a person like me, I've been trained, I know better. I can't just sit back. My mother and father would beat the daylights out of me. If they came right now and see me doing foolishness, what we send you to school for? To do crap? We can't have that, Bahamians. And I'm delighted that I studied constitutional law because now I can look at any law, UN law, US law, regional law, and see where it's constitutionally sound. Because Article 2 is the clincher. If any other law is inconsistent with the Bahamas Constitution, to the extent of its inconsistency, is null and void. Now, there may have some nice things in it, so we work with it. But there are some funny things that in these strange laws that the governor of the Bahamas has adopted. The fellas keep pushing them this way, pushing them that way. They're not constitutionally sound. You got to tell the fella, I can't go with that. That's contrary to the Bahamas Constitution.
I have a question for you, Professor.
Yes, ma'am.
Because we spent some time comparing the Constitution to the Nationality Act, and we know that there's one Constitution, but there are many acts, a bill for an act to do whatever. What is the relationship between the Constitution and those acts, and how is that supposed to flow?
That's an excellent question. I like them kind of questions, you know. Any act that has been passed in the House of Assembly, a bill for an act to do whatever, right? I may not get to 63 in this today, but hopefully next week I can do it, because 63 has a lot to do with this. Okay. But let me just summarize it and say the act cannot, let me withdraw that. The act ought not to have anything in it that is not constitutionally sound. If any part of that act is contrary to the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, that portion of the act is wrong. That's why I take my time to examine the evidence, as we were doing with the Nationality Act. Bahamas Nationality Act. There are too many things in it that are not constitutionally sound. In fact, it's only a bill, even law. The Bahamas National Act is not law. But like I say, I can deal with 63 in the next class. But let me say this. First, it's a bill. Then there are certain procedures that has to go through to become law. That did not happen with this act. And they're using it to naturalize people in the Bahamas. And I can deal with that naturalization thing because that stopped in 1974. The government of the Bahamas has no constitutional and legal authority to naturalize anybody. But you got the papers full of people say they want to be naturalized. So the government gives them a piece of paper. That's all that is a piece of paper. There's no constitutional authority for it. And these are the things we need to look at.
Professor, they only get a piece of paper, they get an old passport.
Okay, no problem. I understand that. And then a person like me who is Bahamian has to put up with this for the time being, of course, because we have to deal with this. You can't have people just walking in here and someone decide to give them a piece of paper and say you're a Bahamian citizen, contrary to the Constitution. That's what the government of the Bahamas has been doing, is doing today. And it is clearly evident that, Bahamians are just sitting here thinking everything is okay, but it isn't. It's to our danger that kind of nonsense is happening in this country. Bahamians, you got to wake up. That's why I want you to send me the emails. Send me your name, send me your address, and your constituency you're in, because I go in constitutional on this. And once you do things constitutionally, there's no one in this country could touch you. No police could put their hand on you. Tell them, get your hand off me. That's unconstitutional if he does. Do you know that? Do you know if you are deprived of your life, frustration with bad roads, no light in the night, that is unconstitutional. It's right in your document. I wonder how many Bahamians saw it. But you see, if you don't read the document, well, it's complicated. I understand all of that. So I can try to help you. No man, woman, or child shall have their life frustrated by deprivation. Having bad roads full of holes frustrate you, break up your vehicle, and then who can pay for it? That's unconstitutional, Bahamians. See all them lights out every night? For how long? For a long period of time. That's unconstitutional for you to be frustrated. All it does is bring all kind of frustration on these people. So when you see them act a certain way, frustration has been built up in them. Bahamians are not to be frustrated. Their lives are not to be frustrated. That is not constitutional if the governor of the Bahamas frustrates the lives of the Bahamian people, and they're doing it. Bad roads, no lights in the night. That means we got to fix it. You can't have these people in all these ministries doing foolishness and nonsense, and we here frustrated. That's wrong. And so people need to understand how important this constitutional document is. If we govern by the Constitution, we'll be a better country. But you have to help them, Bahamians. You already know they cannot do it, have not been doing it. I won't go so far as to say they don't want to do it at all. I can leave that to your judgment. But I know 50 years has gone by. We're in year 51. And I ain't see nothing change. I ain't see nothing change. We're still acting constitutionally. That is the government of the Bahamas. And you have to help them and tell them, no, government, that's wrong. You got to change it. And let's correct it. And let's help them to correct it. I'm prepared to help them to correct it because I'm being affected by it. My family being affected by it. All those thousands of pigeons out there being affected by it because the government of the Bahamas is making bad decisions based on the bad advice from the Office of Attorney General. That's wrong.
Okay,
Go ahead,
let's
Ms.
get
Malcolm.
back. Let's get back to the document because time is going fast. Okay, so 73. Where are we?
I think it
73
was 73 too, I believe. Did you cover 73-1? Yeah. I think that's where you left off. But you could start with 73-1 and then come
Yeah,
down.
let's go. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go
Okay.
to
So make sure
73-1.
we're on the right track. Yeah.
Yeah, 73-1 of the Constitution says, whenever there shall be occasion for the appointment of a Prime Minister, the Governor General shall appoint as Prime Minister A, the member of the House of Assembly, which is the leader of the party, which commands the support of the majority of members of that party, yes, of the members of that House, or B, if it appears to him that the party does not have an undisputed leader in that House, or that no party commands the support of such a majority, the member of the House of Assembly who, in his judgment, is most likely to command the support of the majority of members of that House, and who is willing to accept the office of Prime Minister. 72.
Ms. Malcolm, we did cover that now.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Cover that, yeah. But, I gonna have to put more explanation in that one because that's a little complicated for the average person to understand. But suffice it for today, yes, we did cover that. You could move on.
Okay, 73.2 says, subject to the provisions of paragraph 3 of this article, the minister other than the Prime Minister shall wait, hold on, let me start again. Subject to the provisions of paragraph 3 of this article, the ministers other than the Prime Minister shall be such persons as the Governor General, acting in accordance with the advice of the Prime Minister, shall appoint from among the senators and the members of the House of Assembly.
Stop right there. Remember now, the Governor General makes what? The appointments, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the Constitution says.
Mm-hmm.
The Prime Minister does what? He advises the Governor General.
Right.
As to who ought to be ministers. A question that popped up in my mind is, can he deny and say, I'm not appointing that one? I'm going to just put a question mark to that. I won't answer that right now, but I'll just leave it as is. It says the Governor General appoints the ministers. The Prime Minister makes the determination as to who the ministers will be. So he decides and the Governor General makes the appointment. And that's the way it has been from day one. So that's constitutional. I ain't going against the Constitution. He could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, go on, Ms. Malcolm.
73.3 says, if the Attorney General is appointed from among the members of the House of Assembly, not more than 3 ministers shall be appointed from among the senators. And if the Attorney General is appointed from among the senators, not more than 2 other ministers shall be appointed from among the senators.
Yes, that's correct. No, you have a limited number from the upper house who could be in the cabinet, not more than 3. All right.
Okay.
Now, why they set it up like that, I don't know. I just know it's in the document. So I go in by what the documents say. See, here's another problem, Ms. Malcolm. And if there's anyone out there who may know it, I don't know it. But we do not have any notes from the Founding Fathers as to what they may have been writing or thinking in regards to what was finally put into the Constitution. We don't have that. So I tell people, I don't know. But I know what the Constitution says. So we got to work with that. Because quite a few of them are gone off the scene now. We still have a couple of them left. They have moved into silence. You don't hear anything about them. They're not active in helping to educate the people in any way, shape, or form. I know George Smith, he was there, but he's deceased now. And we may have one or two others that are still alive, but we are not hearing anything from them. And I don't want to speculate. And I tell people, please do not speculate. Now, the memory might have faded and they ain't quite sure. So we have to live with that. We just don't have the notes. We don't have any information. I don't know whether they wrote it somewhere or someone might discover it. It would be good if we could find it if they did. But as far as I know, for the last 50 years plus, there hasn't been any notes or any things written by them which we could go back and look at and say, oh, that's what they were thinking at that time. We just don't have it.
Okay. All right, so let's look at, I think we have time for one more, and then we have to take our final break.
Yeah.
So 73.4 says, if occasion arises for making an appointment to the office of Prime Minister while Parliament is dissolved, a person who was a member of the House of Assembly immediately before the dissolution may, notwithstanding any other provision of this article, be appointed as Prime Minister.
Yes. That's correct.
Okay.
And see, it's kind of strange, but we have to wait with what the Constitution says. Because you can have a dissolution of Parliament, the office of Prime Minister still functions. All right, so it's what we have. And see, I keep saying to people, let us work with what we have. Now, obviously, when you go through this, you're going to see some things that need to be updated. But we can't get into that now. If we work with what we have, if the people who are given the responsibility will govern according to what the document says, we would be better off as a nation. But unfortunately, 50 years has passed, and we don't even know the document. That is a serious blow to democracy in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, why did it happen? I may have some speculation, but I don't want to speculate on it. All I know is the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has the responsibility to protect the interests of the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. So it took me time to say that. I know that. Now, why they didn't do it, you got to find out from them. And I'm not going to speculate on anything. All I can do is look at the facts as they are. We have some serious problems in the governance of this country. We got to fix it. And all of us have to work together to save the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We may have our differences, but when it comes to the government of the Bahamas, it's totally different from a political party. And we as a people have not yet come to see the difference between the two. And that bothers me, because we're not going to have changes if we don't see you have your political party, you have the government of the Bahamas. You could have your party, but you don't have to be the government of the Bahamas. It's sad, but that's just the reality we're in now.
Okay. We have to, I wanted to get, let me just quickly read over 74, 73.5, and then we have to take a break. Because 73.5 is the last one under Article 73.
73, yes,
and it says, if occasion arises for making an appointment to the office of any other minister while Parliament is dissolved, a person who immediately before the dissolution was a senator or member of the House of Assembly may, subject to the provisions of paragraph 3 of this article, be appointed as a minister. All right.
That's correct.
So that takes us to the end of 73. And so let's try to remember that when we come back next week, either we could go to 74 or jump back to 63 as you've been wanting to do.
63.
Okay. All right.
But no, it's a good constitutional lesson. We covered a lot in that short period of time, but there's a whole lot that has to go into that.
Yeah, but we have to take this break. We have to take our final break of the show. So let's do that. Now we're going to wrap it up on the other side. Stay with us. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Blood sugar levels play a key role in your appetite, weight gain, and overall health. When you have a blood sugar spike, you can feel confused, dizzy, and even have increased cravings. Eating carbohydrates, sugary or fatty foods, and not exercising can all cause blood sugar spikes. But now you have help in managing blood sugar levels. Sweeties by Youngevity was designed to help support healthy blood sugar levels so you can power through your day. It's a synergistic blend of minerals, herbs, and nutrients that have been proven to support healthy blood sugar levels. Sweeties includes chromium, an essential trace mineral that's known for its contribution to healthy blood sugar levels and improved metabolism of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. Cinnamon bark has been included for its naturally occurring antioxidants and support of a healthy heart. And we've even added gymnema. It's been used in Ayurveda for centuries to help promote healthy blood sugar. All the ingredients in Sweeties work together to give the best support available for blood sugar control. Sweeties, the blood sugar support supplement from Youngevity that helps control cravings and manage blood sugar levels through your day. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Even everyday exercise can lead to wear and tear on your body. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Yo, 99.5.
Professor, we've got less than a minute to go to close this out, so I just want to thank you once again for being here and helping to spread some knowledge. We have some good comments coming in on Facebook saying that they're enjoying what we're doing here, so we know that people are tuned in. And I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of the show, as always, every Monday. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, got to get out of here because 4 o'clock is upon us. Until tomorrow, listen, y'all better not miss tomorrow's show. I'm calling tomorrow's show, Thou Shalt Not Commit Adulteration. And I say adultery. There's a difference. Go look up adulteration and see what that means. Thou shalt not commit adulteration when lies leads to the loss of lives. It's going to be a serious show tomorrow, y'all. Don't you miss it. Until then, I'm Michelle Malcolm, God willing. I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. And until then, take care. Have a good afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests and not necessarily the opinions of the owners of Global Community.